Seven, six, five, four, three, two, one. We're live. I've seen these countdowns. I'm like, why do I need to do that? How are you? Good to see you guys. Little scratchy throat here, but we're doing really well. Um, Audrey's health is improving, which is good, and we're staying really busy, and so I'm glad you could join me, and I'm looking forward to hearing about everybody's recent experiences here. And I just made a purchase myself from the DJI store last night, and I'm excited about that. I did not buy a Mavic 3 Pro, and but we'll talk about that. I'm interested in those that did, and I think we got a whole lot to share here. So the link to join the show is in the chat. I put it there, and I've got it right in front of me here, and I'll keep putting it up. But I don't have a lot to agenda for today, other than, it's kind of in the drone world, a week when, a new state-of-the-art drone is announced is always an excitement. And, whether or not you're going to buy it or not. I've gone through this a number of times where I just knew, I'm not going to buy that drone, but it is always exciting for me to see what new technology somebody can come out with for this hobby. I got to tell you, I mean, it's just they continue and continue to improve. And when one company does something, the other companies follow along eventually. And so I'm sure not only will we see new stuff from DJI, but I'm sure that there's got to be an Autel Evo 3 or a 10 or whatever's also coming out, kind of thing. And I think that, it is, since it seems that Autel and DJI have become the only ones going after the consumer drone market, So I can certainly today talk a lot about the recent politics of drones here, the banning of Chinese drones in multiple states. We have a case here in Nevada that is pending in an assembly committee, and I'm actually communicating with the assembly. I'm going to add in Mr. Tom. How are you, stranger?
Good, Bob.
How are Tom Dowling, everyone? I don't know if you guys are familiar with Tom. I see a lot of familiar faces in the audience already here, Tom. A lot of people for more decades than me here. But let me first acknowledge a few people here. Dennis Brooks. Dennis is has been our poster boy, and of course, Lee Blessing was one of the early people to join in here, and Lee and I, we had a great time together, and I got bit by this Avada bug by watching Lee flying drones in the lobby of the Hampton Inn in Stuart, Florida. I mean, it was almost unbelievable to watch. We were coming back from a late dinner with some friends. We got back to the hotel, and I walked up to the automatic doors of the hotel, and the doors opened, and there's an Avata staring me in the face. I mean, it was right there, and we stepped out of his way, and he flew outside, and eventually came back in. But Lee figured out uh, he could hover the Avata near the sensor for the door, and it would open the door for him, and he could open the door in and out all by himself. So it was a crazy time. Anyway, let's see. We got Stephen Drones, and I met one of his good friends, Sean Ides in Florida, and Roger Zutter. I don't know. I'd like everybody to kind of welcome Roger. If you see him in the chat here, Roger's become a moderator for Old Farts with Drones, and Roger has a unique advantage of seeing crap that comes onto the Facebook page long before most of us in the United States. Roger is in Switzerland. Okay. So Roger's a huge drone advocate. He's got a variety of drones there. And I'm personally glad to make friends with Roger because I want to go to Switzerland and fly drones. And I want to have, an expert with me and somebody who's knows where all the best spots are. So, and I'd love to trade that service with anybody that wants to come to Las Vegas here. So I know Tom and I probably feel the same about that.
Yeah, it's always an opportunity to meet up with people, especially when they come to your hometown, right? You got all the good spots, Bob. That's the great thing about it. I mean,
yes. We've been here for 2, 3, 4, 5 years looking for places to fly and finding places that work really well. And, and so I think we all offer an advantage to each other.
Absolutely. So, absolutely. That's the thing about this community that's really great. It's basically each one teach one. And, the sharing that goes on, the sharing of knowledge, it's not kept close to the vest. No. It's open. It's out there. It's communicated across all different levels here. And that's what really, gravitated me to this group.
Yeah.
Was sharing that we have that shared experience. Us old farts, we empathize with, when we sit down and break bread together, we usually have discussions about drones and doctor's visits. Okay. So, it's a shared experience. It's a shared experience.
And health insurance and
exactly.
And
exactly.
everything else, the old farts talk about here.
Yeah. But it's also good to see what's happening in the market too. I know if I probably would have been a little pissed if I had bought the first Mavic 3, okay, the original Mavic 3, and now to see this bird come out with its capabilities, of course you do have to expect this involvement. I mean, come on. I think the adage was, if the automotive industry moved as quickly as the IT industry technologies, we'd be driving at the speed of light and getting 187,000 miles to the gallon. Okay. You have to expect it. My little Air Force that I own keeps aging by the minute.
Yes.
But
really,
but you have to, the enjoyment I get out of it is what takes me. Now, there was some other big news that kind of, escaped a lot of people. But as of yesterday, DJI made it possible to fly the Mini 3 Pro and the Mavic 3 series drones using the goggles and get this, the motion controller too. So all of you naysayers, all of you motion controller naysayers, okay?
Tom is a motion controller advocate, okay?
Take a lesson here, okay? Just like we've had controllers evolve, that motion controller has evolved. That motion controller has actually now evolved into a extremely useful tool, because on that motion controller too, I now have the ability to do everything you had the ability to do with the standard controller.
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk about operating that drone in a closed environment, now that motion controller gives you more of a sense of space and a being, okay, than the standard controller. And if you haven't used them, you should really try it, okay?
So
The other thing about that motion controller that I can't understate is the fact that it opens up this environment to those that have certain physical disabilities or limitations that could potentially not be able to hold, a standing controller in their hand. I have a friend local that is an amputee, and now this actually opens up drones to that individual. It should be applauded.
Oh, that, yes, the usability, kind of thing for sure.
Yeah.
That's yeah, I'm trying to look for something at the moment on my computer here to show you. Okay. That just take me a second here.
Now I can tell you that technology, of course, is fraught with its own issues. Like yesterday, I updated the firmware on my Mini 3 Pro, on my goggles 2, on my motion controller 2, and was able to connect all three together, but I'm unable to bind them, which means since I started the props twice on my DJI Mini 3 Pro, I only have 3 flights remaining before it gets bricked from the setup. So I think DJI might have fell short here by not updating the DJI Fly app. So there's a new firmware update for the goggles too, and for the newest set of goggles. There's also an update for the motion controller too. There's an update for the Mini 3s and the Mavic 3s. But I don't believe the latest update to Fly contains the last ingredient to the recipe. And of course, going through DJI site, I can't find any troubleshooting information that covers this. And I do have a support call in.
Oh, good.
What are we looking at?
This is what I did last night. I bought the motion. I bought the Integra goggles and the Motion 2 controller. There.
I'm sorry to interrupt your show.
Yes.
But I got an emergency call from Kimiko. Her casting agent is looking for a Santa, and they need your picture immediately.
Okay.
So send it to me, and I will send it.
I'll send it to you. I'll text it to you right now.
Right now.
Okay. Sorry, guys.
No problem. So for those of you that don't know, Bob wears a lot of different hats. I do call him the...
Tom, take over the show for a minute here.
Sure.
I want to introduce you to Roger. Okay. We're going to bring Roger in here. I'm going to stop sharing here. There's Roger in Switzerland. Hey, Roger.
Hi, guys.
Hello, Roger. How are you?
Good.
I'm fine, thanks. What about you guys?
Going to,
doing good. So what I was saying about Bob is I affectionately know Bob as the leprechaun of Las Vegas. Okay. And the bearded wonder. And also, he has a lucrative Santa Claus franchise here in the Las
Okay.
Vegas Valley. So you know, Bob is a wonderful, wonderful human being. The first time I met Bob, I took to him right away. So,
Good to
Roger,
hear.
you're all the way on the other side.
Yes, sir.
So, what time is it there, sir?
We have 9:15 p.m.
9:15. So I got a 7-hour offset with you.
Yeah, it depends on if
It
you are
depends.
central, east, or west.
East and Western, whether we're doing daylight savings time or not, you know.
Exactly.
How much more can we complicate things, right?
Well, you got the imperial standard, and we have the metric.
You know, and metrics couldn't be any easier, but it really does evade our intelligence here for some reason. I just don't understand it.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's so difficult to multiply everything by 100 or divide it by 100, and
Those zeros really trip people up, you know.
yeah, I told this Bob last time when we talked. I was living in St. Louis, Missouri for 2 years back in 97, 98.
Yeah.
I really had huge trouble to get into the imperial system because everything was, 7/16s and whatever.
So none of it, it all defies logic, by the way. Okay.
Yeah.
It makes no sense whatsoever. And if you ask 10 people in this country how many feet are in a mile, you'll
Mhm.
probably get 8 different answers. Okay. So, you know, but when it comes to miles per hour, you know, that's the
Yeah.
given standard.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, and of course, when Americans go somewhere else and rent a car, the first time they see a speed limit posted of 100, that's fraught with disaster.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's true.
But so what are you flying over there, Roger?
What do I fly? I have the Mavic Pro. I got the Mavic 2 Pro. I got the Mavic 3 Cine. I got the DJI FPV. I got the DJI Avatar, and I'm looking into the M30T right now.
So are you using these commercially?
No.
Okay, so the M30T is just for grins and giggles.
Yes.
That's a good life. That's a good life, Roger. Okay.
It's what I always, or what my grandpa always said, you can take it with you. And he also told me, because I always told him, well, you only live once. And he said, no, that's not true. You live every day. You only die once.
Correct. Yep.
So
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
like you guys said before, right now I'm able with my health to do what I want.
Right.
It makes no sense, to wait until you're 65, until you're retired. You got more time, you got more money, and then you maybe have Parkinson, and you're not able to fly anymore.
You never know, right? You really
Yeah.
never know. And I had a health scare, not a scare. I had open heart surgery 6 years ago now.
Mhm.
Worked 40 years in public safety, and I only retired 2 years ago. We're living our best life. We're definitely living our best life now. So
Yeah, that's true.
the M30T, by the way, is a monster of a drone. It is like one of the
I know.
best public safety drones that exist.
I know. I fly
Amazing.
I fly it here in the fire department,
Okay.
and I just want one for myself.
It's an amazing tool, and it's really sad what's happening in this country. And I think Bob's going to want to be part of that conversation regarding how they're trying to restrict access to that drone
Yeah.
to government entities. I recently retired. I was had a 40-year career in the New York City Fire Department, the FDNY. And recently, just a few days ago, there was a major garage multi-story garage collapse
Yeah.
in Manhattan in New York City. And the robotics unit, which I had a good hand in getting together, was deployed where they deployed the Boston Dynamics dog, and also flew drones above and inside the structure
Yeah.
because the structure was deemed unsafe for firefighters, EMTs, and medics to enter. So these are not just toys, not just stuff that we can enjoy a hobby with, but these are actually life-saving tools.
Yeah, this is what
And-
I said
Yeah.
3 weeks ago. We just used it a couple days before that show. We used it to localize a 78-year-old guy with Alzheimer that got lost in the woods. We
Yeah,
could find him with the M30T within 2.5, 3 hours.
It's amazing too, because when you're using that drone, once you get attuned to it, for those that don't know, it's a thermal imaging drone. So you can actually set different temperatures for it, to depending on the type of situation you're working in. And the great thing about it is, when you're doing a search and rescue, you're trying to find a lost person or a lost pet in the middle of a forest. That person, when they're within the focal range of that drone, just basically stands out like a spotlight.
Yep.
Okay. So, really, really an amazing tool. Welcome back, Bob.
That's
Thanks.
so true.
Thanks. I got it taken care of.
Yeah, about Tom, about that, what you talked before the update for the M3 with the goggles.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit disappointed in DJI because they just do it to the goggles too, and the new ones. I have the
You have the original V2s. Yeah.
I think it's V2. Yeah.
Yeah.
The funny thing is the V2 works perfectly on the Avatar, so it's the same technology.
There's no reason. Right, Roger.
There's no reason
it's self-limiting.
Self-limit the people that are supporting the company since the beginning,
Well, I'm still angry over the Crystal Sky monitors. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I bought those things, and
I had a 2000 nit monitor is custom made for my declining eyesight in the middle of this wide open sun country Bob and I are living in. But the goggles, look, I've been pining for the goggles to be capable with GPS drones, because my side gig over the 40 years was I was a professional photographer on the side. Fire department is one of the best schedules you can get on the planet, and if you work it right, you got a lot of off time. So my side business was a photographer, and even today with my mirrorless full body full size cameras, I still look through the viewfinder. I don't look at the screen on the back unless I'm what's called chimping the shot, seeing what I might have gotten. When I'm composing that shot, I want to look through the viewfinder. So for me, being able to wear goggles and fly a camera drone is like purpose built. It's what I'm looking for. And
That's
this
true.
way I can, because how many times we look at that little screen, even on an RC Pro, you're looking at that screen, but until you're back and you have that footage loaded on your monitor, you say to yourself, oh, damn, I missed that. I missed the angle on that. That would have been such a better angle if I would have gotten it this way or that way. And so the goggles now give me that ability to hyper focus. But of course, the downside of that is you better have a visual observer with you.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
That's the con of that.
For those that are in a happy relationship, okay, especially if it's sanctified civilly, have your spouse with you, because in this country, Roger, my spouse cannot testify against me in court. So
Okay.
it's a perfect fit when it comes to a visual observer.
Yes,
Okay.
the perfect visual observer. You know,
Yeah.
no, he could see that the whole time.
Yeah, right. No, it's
That's
really
right.
sad. I mean, of course, the motion controller too. With that one, you are able to fly backwards.
Yeah.
That you are not with the one. Okay, I'm granting that one. It's
Right.
here. It's only
And the multi and the
the
control stick
joystick.
instead of the
Yeah,
pause button. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
But here, I mean, I would buy that one. It's just $150 here.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, but why should I buy the same? Because the goggles too look exactly the same as the V2,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
and it's the
You know,
same thing. So
yeah, they should be. There's technically no reason not to work. Marketing reason, maybe. The same thing is true. You know, the DJI RC that they started with the Mini 3 Pro. I mean, you can use the N1 RC N1 on the Mini 3 Pro. So there's no technical reason
No.
that couldn't work with the Mini 2.
And the whole idea was when they started
Yeah.
doing that, where now you have choices between the RCN1, the RC, the RC Pro.
Pro.
That's a great upgrade path, right?
Yeah. Now
If you want more features,
the motion
if you want
controller.
more features, you go with them.
Yeah.
But you're not hobbled. Okay.
Yeah.
So I agree with you, Roger. I'm hoping that they make a decision and there's enough of an outcry that, hey, you know, a lot of people drop some good change on not just the DJI FPV, but on the V2 goggles. Plenty of people came to town afterwards and bought V2 goggles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so, and if it works with an air unit, why can't it work with the Mavics? So
yeah,
And the air
You know.
unit is OcuSync 3, isn't it?
as long as they're O3s, yeah, exactly.
yeah, they're
You know.
all O3s.
They're all O3s,
Yeah.
so there's no reason
Yes.
not to.
Yes. Yeah. Then I you know.
And you also said, Tom, that you're feeling a little bit sad for the guys that bought the original Mavic 3.
Yes.
I mean, I have the Mavic 3 Cine, and I'm so completely happy with it.
Oh,
what it
no
is
doubt about
able
it.
to do.
Oh,
And for that reason, I'm not even sad that the 3 Pro came out. When I was watching the first video, I really thought, and now they are dropping it, that they're saying all 3 cameras do the recording on the same time. So you can at the end choose between which camera you want, which
Yes.
angle, but they didn't do that. It's like on the M3T. You can have the thermal and the normal camera simultaneously.
Yeah.
Why they don't do it on the Mavic 3? That
Yeah.
would be a game changer.
Well,
Yeah.
they would turn around. They would turn around and say, well, the reason why we can do it on the M30T is because you're using a different controller. Okay, and that controller is capable. But
No.
look. I feel the mistake that they're making here also is not allowing you to maintain that normal view when you're flying with telephoto. I see that fraught with issues because people are unsettled. They think they're too close to something. They're going to react the wrong way. Okay, it's just like in public safety. If you're flying 2 members to a drone, one is operating the payload or the cameras, and the other is the pilot, and the pilot maintains an FPV view. Okay, that's something I was a little taken back by when I saw the release on the. I had actually seen the Mavic 3 Pro several weeks ago, actually a week or so ago, because Billy, Kyle, and Ken were out here along with Jake Sloan, and we were flying over in Calico Basin. So I saw it. That payload looks huge. Even though the Mavic 3 is a big drone, that payload looks huge. And talking about huge, how big How big is the bill on that cap, dude?
Look at that.
Did you special order that?
Hey.
What's up, Mark?
Hi, Mark.
What's going on, Tom? How are you? Bob
Yeah.
and
Hi, Mark.
Roger. How you guys doing? You like the guy in the back? Isn't he
Yeah.
cool?
Yeah.
He's like a
It
blues
looks like
brother, right?
it looks like an old fart. What's
He's
the
a
guy's
drone
name
pilot.
from Breaking Bad?
That's
Right.
that's Mark's senior citizen emoji. Okay.
And I got these guys in the back too, right here, you know? Come
So
on,
Tom,
man.
I want to continue what you were just saying, though. You know, they may release this, this ability, to use those goggles, but they can't put everything out when they got it. I believe they have to divvy it out one by one. So they have to keep this excitement moving. So it's going to be in the next release, or the next firmware is going to
I
do
hope
that.
so.
But
Or
why?
so they have to have something to continue with.
Listen, I know a Chinese guy for over 40 something years. And he came here from China and he opened up a hole in a wall Chinese restaurant. He now owns almost every single building in the city of Pawtucket. They're very smart. They know what they're doing as far as business. And I mean, DJI has things sitting on its shelves. I believe, this is my opinion, they have stuff sitting on the shelf waiting and strategically coming out with stuff. I mean, that Mavic 3, the body, everything didn't change. It's just a gimbal. We could probably switch out those cameras.
What are there now? Let's see. Let's tally them up. What are there? 6 different Mavic 3.
6. I was thinking
configurations?
about that this
Is it
morning.
6? Because you
I
have
think it is.
no, you have the first one that came out, then the
Mavic 3,
the Cine, the
Cine,
Cine, and the Classic. Okay.
Then the
Now
classic,
you have
but
the Pro.
You have the Mavic 3. You have the Mavic.
Oh
3
no, I think it might be 7.
Enterprise.
Well, no, you have the. I'm saying you have the Mavic 3 Pro, then you have the Mavic 3 Cine Pro Cine, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
then you have the Enterprise
Mavic 3.
Advanced and the Enterprise Thermal.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's right.
So tell me you're not getting enough mileage off of this chassis. Okay. It's
Yo,
a-
they
you know,
wrote-
it-
They wrote that
it's
one
doing
out,
it right.
boy. That's a
Oh, and it's this might segue us into that other discussion about limiting DJI products to government entities. Okay, where do you see? I mean, I got involved a little bit on the Blue UAS side of the fence right before I was retiring, and there was nothing out there to be offered. And what you basically have right now is you having state legislators and federal legislators pimping for some of these Blue UAS companies. Okay.
Yes.
Which
Yes.
you don't have a product that can compete with what DJI has out
Nope.
there. When
Nope.
Roger, you talk about that M30T. Tell me that is not a perfect tool in the public safety spectrum. Okay.
Yes.
No doubt.
It was purpose built. Okay. Where
Sure.
on the Blue UAS side do you see anything like this?
But what
only that-
about what about what's it called? Outtail?
Yes. Their
okay.
M40 Max was the competition to that.
Yeah, what
And-
would be the
and-
difference though with
but
Autel? They
wait.
make their stuff in China too.
Wait, yeah, I was just going to ask this. I mean, where are the components for the Auto coming from?
China.
Oh,
Okay,
all
right.
in China. Yeah. Autel's a
And, you know-
Chinese company.
And you say, well, their customer support was fantastic. My customer support from DJI is on the money. I mean,
Every
they shipped me an Avata replacement before mine even went in the mail. Okay, I called it in.
Yep.
And it was 41 hours later, I had that replacement Avata. And I actually took the box they shipped it in and put the broken Avata in and shipped it back to them.
Yeah.
It was like clockwork. So,
Yeah.
you know, and
No,
I bet
it's
you-
been my
I bet you-
experience too.
I bet your Parrots glad they got out of the game.
Yeah.
well, you know, there's still
mean,
an
they're in
entity
the game,
of Parrot.
but
They're in
well,
the game.
military.
Well, here's, you know, look,
I got a
when
friend
you
who
really-
works for them right now, and
You
they're right here in
cannot-
New Bedford, Massachusetts.
you cannot afford, or most fire services, most, you know, public safety entities, you know, other than the big police departments, you can't afford Blue UAS. You can't budget for that. Okay. There's nothing there, okay, that really matches up dollar
So
for dollar.
then by banning Chinese drones, they're going to take smaller departments and leave them with nothing.
Correct. You're taking a valuable tool set away, okay?
Right.
Because we've decided in this country to globalize our economy,
Yes.
okay, and go for the cheapest bang. And
This is
allow
not just about
everything to be
drones.
made.
Called-
It's not just about
It's called
drones.
money over life. Money
Yeah.
over
Well,
life.
you know what? I fought the grant issues when I was in the department. In fact, most of my procurement came out of my normal operating expense budget. I, you know, had a bureau, and so what I would do is to circumvent some of those issues, because we were already having those issues back 4 or 5 years ago. You know, the second DOD Department of Defense came out with this study that, you know, the U.S. Army said, oh, you know, we got to be careful. Our data was we already proved our data was encapsulated, that nothing was going offshore. Okay.
You know, we hold these cell phones in our hands every single day that are all from China. Apple's right next to whatchamacallit. It's just ridiculous. It's all money. And
It's
is that
right.
Is that,
and
Tom? Is that
it's
state by
money,
state?
and it's the lobbyist. It's the
Yeah.
pimps
Is it state by
from
state?
companies. Unfortunately, it is, except at the federal level. Now, you got to realize after 9/11, after 9/11 happened, a lot of fire services and the FDNY, of course, reaped a lot of benefits as a result of the sacrifices made from federal grants.
Also lost a
Okay.
whole,
Yeah, we lost 343 members, and you know, that about 20 of them were dear friends of mine.
and
Another
another 10,000 with illnesses.
Well, you look at it, and as a public safety provider, I have to look at it a different way than you do, Bob. I look at it as one of the most successful rescue missions we ever carried out, because we actually saved over almost 35,000 people that day.
Right.
Okay, from perishing. And you know, we made a sacrifice, but part of that sacrifice was to ensure that we didn't make similar mistakes in the future and take that experience. Okay. We lost most of our senior staff. So our job got too young too quick.
Yeah.
And that's very dangerous in fire service.
That says a lot for the department that the senior staff were in there. They
Right,
weren't
but-
sitting in
but
some safe
with-
place
Well,
barking orders.
today we have to have centralized command. Today you have to manage your assets differently. You know, we took grant funding and we created infrastructure and support systems. And one thing we also did was we looked at force protection, taking care of our own. Okay, because if we didn't take care of our own, we weren't there for others. So a lot of it came out of 9/11. Okay, out of what we lost. But you know, grant funding was a big way we fueled that. And the problem with the feds is once the U.S. Army and Department of Defense came out with that study, they were like, okay, you can't use federal dollars. So I would use my own city expense funding to run my bureau, and I take a few bucks and get the robotics team some new drones, and you know, do it that way, and then backfill some of my shortfalls with grant funding on projects that the feds were okay with. But what's happening now is you have these locals and the state groups coming out and going, we're anti-Chinese. We can't have this. We can't, you know, the state of Florida. You took drones away from people who have to search the Everglades. Okay. And now you put them back on airboats instead of being able to take up a drone, like Roger said, with infrared imaging and find that lost
Lost
soul
senior
out there
citizen.
before
Yeah.
you keep it a rescue mission before it becomes a salvage mission. Okay,
Yeah.
that's the difference drones make.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So-
and
Hey, quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to put a message out there to Lance. Lance, if you're listening, I know you was in the live show out there. Lance, you can just contact DJI, tell them that you bought a Avata, give them your serial number on your Avata, and they will send you a coupon for $90 off of the motion controller too. I just tried to send them a coupon, but it didn't work. So I think it's specific to each customer. So,
I see.
but seeing that you bought
Good.
a Avata, you should get you are eligible for a $90 discount on the motion controller too.
That's everyone that bought
That's
an Avata?
everyone. Absolutely everyone. Yep.
Okay.
If
That's
they
good
didn't,
news.
they
I
didn't
mean,
send me a coupon, and I got two. I bought two, and I just sent them and I said, listen, I bought two Avatas, and I never got a coupon, and they said, oh, what's your serial number on your both of your Avatas? And I sent them, and then they sent me 3 coupons. Yeah, they try to get me.
uh-huh. They'll tease you. Maybe you'll buy another one,
Yeah, right.
So what are they? They're $150? Is that what they are?
Yeah, I think once they're $249. I think once the
Two.
$90 is tagged on, it's like
I see.
$159.
Well, they sent you three. They sent you 3 because you'll be buying the Avata 2 soon.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. That's what I'm waiting for.
And
I'm
I
waiting
will
for
too,
the
because
Avata 2
I
Mini.
love the Avata.
The Avata 2 Mini Pro. Okay,
Yes,
how many
yes,
things do we
seen
have
it.
there? Okay,
Yes.
Tom, you just nailed it right on the
Exactly.
right on the coffin. There.
that's right.
Yeah.
I
So,
love
yeah.
Avata was what I was looking
So,
for.
Roger,
I
you were
mean,
going to say?
Yeah, what I want to tell you, Tom, is this: I really don't think bad about people, but what I really hope is that the guys that are responsible for banning drones for rescue, police, fire department, or whatever, will face that problem that they are just with a broken leg are laying somewhere and have to wait
Sad
for
to think,
days.
yeah.
That's like karma.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really hope that, and then they'll go, oh, maybe we should, change something.
Well, it is sad because these people are so far removed from what the reality is on the front lines. Okay.
yeah.
When people said
Good
to me,
point.
my brother worked for my agency for several years, put 20 in, and he went to the feds. He was completely disenchanted, working for the feds because he was so far removed from everything after being in an agency like mine, where you were on the front lines all the time. You were, whatever you did in the back office, you saw the direct results right on the front lines within a short period. Where at the federal level, you have all these layers to get through that you never get to experience, the fruit from those efforts. So as a result of that, you don't know how well they play in the quality of life aspect. So you discount it. It's like, oh, God forbid the Chinese get any information on us. Any information on us? I know who in my neighborhood has pools. Why? Because I look at Google Earth and I look at Google Maps and and it's
That's so ridiculous.
Look
It
at
stands
Apple
out.
Maps or whatever.
I'm more afraid of our homeowners associations than I am the Chinese government right now. Okay.
Hey, they're just squeezing them. They see
So,
the
Mark-
money that DJI is making. They know they're multi-billionaires and they got it on lock and nothing's touching them. They're squeezing them, and they're gonna make it difficult for them to sell drones in this country. unless they get paid. That's really what it's all about. It's really about the
Well,
money.
these blue UAS companies, I believe, are looking to be completely subsidized by the federal government. It's bad
That's-
enough I got to subsidize another sports team in the local area. Okay.
Yes,
But-
the athletics here.
But who wouldn't want to move out of Oakland? Hey, sorry to offend
Yeah.
anybody.
Yeah,
from
no,
Oakland.
wait a
But,
minute.
yeah. Oh, wait a second.
No,
Okay?
wait a minute.
But,
Wait. Stop,
but-
Tom.
but listen. The real
Go
issue
Knights,
here,
go.
Yeah, go Knights, go. The real issue here is that innovation is what should drive the marketplace. Okay, and
You're right. Who's making the
real
best stuff?
fault.
You
Well,
know,
the real
who's
fault
making the
here
new stuff?
is we're
Yes.
not investing in STEM in this country. Okay,
Yeah.
we have as a developed country. Boy, does our education system suck royal. Okay,
Well,
so we're not investing. We're not investing where we need to invest, and we're not innovating. Okay,
Uh-huh.
instead, it's a lot cheaper to rip people off left and right than it is to innovate. Okay, you get me dizzy, Mark.
nice shot.
I know.
Okay, Mark is
I was
trying to
flying
weed
around,
out.
Dom.
Mark's trying to weed out all the wannabe Avada pilots here. That's what he's doing.
You know what's really good about Switzerland? This is maybe something that you guys should implement in the US as well. So let me tell you this. If Switzerland would do the same as Florida did and said, we are going to ban DJI products, then every person or every Swiss citizen can start collecting signatures. He needs at least 30,000 signatures. When he got them, he will deposit them at the government, and then it has to go in front for a vote, and the Swiss people or Swiss citizen can vote for that. Do we really want that or no?
Or not? Yeah.
So
So the citizens can vote on
Yes.
whether we're going to outlaw Chinese drones or not. On only with now, what's the total population of Switzerland?
Switzerland has approximately 8.5 million
Okay,
that are
So
living here.
that's
So,
LA. That's
percentage-wise,
LA on a
yeah.
slow day.
yeah.
I'm
and
gonna-
we have about 7.2 millions are Swiss citizens.
Roger, I'm sorry. I don't believe you. I'm gonna have to come to Switzerland and really find
Me
out.
too.
He's
We'll
going to do
check
a head
that out.
count.
You know what? We're gonna have to just go investigate.
But also, if you look at Switzerland's participation rate, okay, where
Yes.
more citizens participate
Yes.
in making those decisions
Right.
than we
how
can
many
claim here in this country, unfortunately.
how many people vote
Yeah.
in Switzerland?
Yeah.
Well,
Percentage.
it always depends on what kind of
Yeah, whether it's local or
Well,
wide
yeah.
open.
if it's
Right.
local or
Let's
is it
just-
all on
Yeah.
the government level. But
Give us
Yeah.
the top
normally
end.
it's between 40 to 75.
75, yeah.
Well,
Or
the
we're
biggest one we ever
30
had was
to 30 to 40 here in the United States percent of eligible voters vote.
Yeah,
You
the
know,
biggest
And
one
yeah.
was really at that time when the government want to that Switzerland joins the European Union, and the Swiss citizens said there was a 75% of participation,
Turnout. Yeah.
and with I think 55 or 60% no.
in really,
Right.
Yep.
Right.
huh?
So you
Yeah.
really have the choice here by going to vote.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, that's what the choice should be
That's
here. But
democracy.
the system, unfortunately, we have here is
Yeah.
we have highly paid for lobbyists,
Yes,
okay, going after salaried politicians, okay.
who
who,
mostly as the politicians in state houses are part-time jobs.
A lot of states, not all states,
Here
but
in
a lot of
Nevada,
states.
it's
Right.
part-time
It's
job,
a part-time job. Right. Right.
so they don't, so
and
fundraising is
and
important.
and lobbyists, of course, hold a lot of purse strings. And this is the problem that we have right now is, like I said, and I don't think I'm stepping out of bounds here by saying that some of these politicians now are pimping for some of these companies like Skydio and Ortel. Skydio, come on, you don't have a product today that can compete at the level necessary to support public safety. But we have politicians that are getting out and holding up reports on how this product, and where'd you get that report? Oh, well, the vendor gave it to me.
Yeah.
But wait. Who has established that the criteria in the report was even valid in the first place? Well, the vendor told me that. Well, of course. So you're pimping for these vendors, and that is not how I cast my votes. I look, I only wish that we had full disclosure in this country, Roger, for every politician that's running, that you could take a look and see what's behind them. Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's how the decisions are made. And, so we get maybe the ability for a representative in the House to recall them every 2 years, but in the Senate, it's 6 years. And in most of these state assemblies, it's a minimum of 4 years.
Most of them.
Well, it depends. Well, it depends. Assembly and Senate, you have different bodies at the state level
Right.
also. So my problem is career politicians, and what you have in this country is, I don't care if you want to be if that's what your career is going to be, a politician. Good. Start out as an ombudsman, become a council member, run for mayor, run for lieutenant governor, and work your way up. Okay. But to stay in the same job for 55 years, to be a senator, okay, in the U.S. for 50 freaking years, okay, I had to retire after a certain number of years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, we have members of our Senate that are near their 90s years old. Here, Dianne Feinstein, isn't she like 89 or something like that?
Well, she's working remotely, Bob. She's working from home.
I think Biden is 80 as well, right?
Joe Biden is 80 years old. Yes, he is.
Yeah, he would be 82 for his next run.
He will be the oldest president ever if he wins next time. Yes.
Yeah. The funny thing is also in Switzerland, we have one president, but this president is only the spokesman of our 7 presidents that we have. We have a president there is for transportation, for inner safety, like military. We got for finance. Defense. We got 7. And one out of these 7 will be the president or just the spokesman for
all of them.
The president,
for all of them,
the committee.
Right.
Exactly. Yes. And when there are meetings, like meeting with Biden or with Canada or whatever, then that's the guy that stays there, but he speaks for all of them 7. Yeah. So there is no one in Switzerland that has the absolute power of everything.
Yeah, we have what our situation is. We have cabinet members who run those major entities, and they of course all report up to the president. But again, we have 3 different entities in the U.S. We have judicial, executive, and legislature. And unfortunately, our country is they don't know, each wants to do the other's job. Yeah. Okay,
very confused.
So that's our problem. So but when it comes to drones, when it comes to drones, it's impacting our ability to use the right tools where we need them. I mean, it's, to me, a drone today, to me, coming from fire service, is has the same value as the jaws of life, the pneumatic tools, what we used to call the Hearst tool. Okay, we named it the Hearst tool was because it was made by Hearst.
Yeah.
And that was how we referred to it. But you know, it's a tool set, and that's exactly what it is. Now, as far as
Hang on, Tom.
leveraging,
Hang
yeah,
on.
go ahead.
Tom, I wanted to say, I have to, I didn't understand I mean, and I'm thrilled that this conversation kind of has drifted this way, but I have to tell you, over the last 48 hours, I have been communicating with multiple state senators here in Nevada. I have communicated with multiple assembly members in Nevada. I have the phone number of the committee person the staff member who will put my opposition to Senate Bill 11 in the Nevada legislature into the document. I mean, I've also been in communication with not only, as people know, I talked to Adam Welsh, who is the head of global policy for DJI. I was able to interview him at the NAB show. But in addition to that, I've been communicating with DJI's staff in Washington, D.C., and their head lobbyist in Washington, D.C. And I have to tell you, I have a document here that I've got permission yesterday to share with anybody that wants to share this document. And here it is. This is the DJI's Enterprise Drones Safety and Security document. And not only does, I mean, I'll anyone that wants a copy of this document, I'm now at liberty to give you. I've had this for a couple of weeks, but not only does it outline every step that they're doing to ensure your safety and your data, but it also, down here, the last part of this is 6 independent studies from independent consulting firms and U.S. Department of Interior. This Idaho National Laboratory was commissioned by the Department of Homeland Security to test DJI drones. And here is their result. And the U.S. Department of Commerce themselves, this is their final documents on DJI drones. So, I mean, I have to tell you, this document, I was shocked. Me as a user, as a hobbyist mostly, I have a 107 and I take a few jobs, when I get them. And I've had some prestigious jobs. But I'm thrilled that I know this information. Up until I got this document, maybe 10 days ago, I firmly believe that when I turned sharing on my drone, on my profile on DJI Fly, that meant that all of my flight records and photographs and anything else was coming from my drone was going to China and being uploaded on a computer in China. And if the Chinese government said, we want to see Bob Dempsey's footage here, we want to see where he's flying, that they would have the ability to find that information out. And I was not aware that all of the data from the United States is being stored on a server in the United States. They actually told me which server it is. It's not in this document, but it's on Amazon Web Service, and and it's encrypted with if there's any address or location information, it's encrypted with AES 256 encryption, which is pretty much overstepping government regulations for encryption.
Bob, if I could just interject,
Sure.
also on the enterprise level of product, the end user has the ability to purge those logs. In fact, most of the larger public entities use aftermarket products such as drone deploy, and
Yeah.
so you have control over your data. In fact, a subsequent Department of Defense, you were talking about an entity I kind of worked with, New Steel, was the National Science and Technology Lab with Homeland Security, their acronym
Mhm.
STEEL, and they had done a study and backed us up in the FDNY because we were making petitions to the federal government to release grant funding, because what happened with the FDNY was, while the feds controlled grant funding at the federal level, the state grants that we were going for, which I
Mhm.
figured were free and clear, the states turned around and said, well, if the feds don't allow it, we're not going to allow it.
It's exactly the philosophy.
Wait a second. Wait, here's a report from a federal entity, DHS New Steel, who says our data is completely encapsulated and no data is going to the Chinese mainland. But yeah, this
The bottom line is,
is a
Tom, you
political
don't
hook.
need internet to fly a drone.
No, you don't. You don't.
You don't.
You don't.
The agency, the police department, the fire department, they don't need to connect that drone to.
No, in
the
fact,
internet.
like what we did was we had what was called a nationwide COA, a certificate of authorization, that
Yeah.
allowed us to fly over people, to allow us to fly within boundaries of airports, which allowed, all under the guise of, disaster preparedness, emergency
You're
response.
serving the
But-
public.
But you're correct. We did not have to connect. At no time do you have to plug a phone, with DJI Fly or DJI Go or DJI Pilot on it in order to fly a mission.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that's kind of the, I think the this I followed this case in Nevada, and the amendment for the blue UAV, it was submitted by a lobbyist for the Republican Party, and he could have been for Democrats. It didn't, but that's
He
who
just
he is.
wasn't an independent. We'll put it that way.
It was not an
Okay?
independent
Okay, there
person
we go. Right.
that filed this this amendment here in Nevada, and this amendment now is affecting every single police department in the state of Nevada.
And another thing I'd point out, Bob, is, we are not the most unique place in the world, no doubt about it, but we have less of a population across our geographical space called the state of Nevada than most any other state. Okay.
Yes, we have more open space.
And the thing is that makes it even more important to be able to leverage drones with the best technology. Okay, when somebody gets lost, Henderson. I live in the city of Henderson, but it's a sprawling suburb of Las Vegas. I'm surrounded by the Black Mountains. People are going hiking all the time up in the Black Mountains, and the best way for the Henderson Fire Department to locate a stranded hiker is through the use of a drone. Like you said, Roger, a matter of could be minutes instead of days. And the viability of a victim depends on how quickly you get to them. Okay?
Exactly.
And politics should have no bearing in how quickly we get to them.
Yeah. I mean, what you do when you're working in a public department, like a firefighter, you have the availability, or you have the availability to ask the mobile company, give me the last known position of his cell phone when he carries one.
Right.
So
Right.
it's, it shortens the circle where to search. And from there, you are going to start.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
if people are choosing to ban things like that, it's approximately the same if you take the hoses away from the firefighters.
Correct. Right.
And
And when you show up at a fire, the last thing you want to explain to the homeowner is, why am I standing next to the truck instead of putting water on the fire? Well, they didn't give me anything to get water from the truck to the house.
yeah, I'm
So
just having
that
a
argument
two.
would never right.
Yeah, I'm just having a 2 or a 3 gallon bucket because they said that the hoses are coming from China. So that's it.
It is when you start to break it
We-
down this way, Roger. It really defies logic. It really
Yes.
does.
We connected ourselves to China. We didn't. This is nothing about just drones or security. I mean, if we were to say, okay, we're going to immediately stop everything with China, both the United States would go into a severe depression.
We'd go into a
And-
tech recession.
No.
China would also go into a severe
Yeah.
depression.
Well, let me ask a question. Let me ask a question. I pose this to the chat too. Bob,
Yeah.
how many of us have Ring security systems, Simply Safe security systems, ADT
Yeah.
security systems?
Yes.
Where are those components coming from?
Yes.
I mean,
I have a Swiss company,
Yeah.
well,
Okay.
some of
What's
us
the
are
name
not
of it?
as fortunate.
Logitech.
Okay,
Okay. Logitech.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's Swiss.
I have some
But it's
Logitech products
yeah,
around me.
but
Thank
Chinese
you.
products in there.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
I
Exactly.
you know, if
I mean,
if you
come
look
on,
at
Roger
everything we
Hasselblad, as a
Yeah.
photographer, Hasselblad.
is a
That's an-
Chinese company now.
That's an altar we would pray to.
Yeah.
Mamaya and Hasselblad, right? We would pray
Yes.
to those. Those were gods.
Those were the
Okay.
top guys.
And Hasselblad is owned by DJI. They're the
Yes.
controlling partner.
Yes.
So come on, give me a break at this point.
What
We-
about your
we-
toaster?
Oh, please.
Oh
Please.
Your
yeah.
microwave?
Don't
Your
Right.
screw with
toothbrush?
don't screw with my toaster.
Yes.
But it was
really-
made in China. I
it's-
guarantee you.
it's-
You
it's,
know.
it is really like that. I mean, if
You know.
if they are going to stop like that, it's not only daily tools that you're using, it's medication, it's
Yes.
for health, for safety,
Oh
for
yes.
whatever.
Yes.
It's
No,
yeah.
We
Look,
decided
we
to
all decided to
outsource labor.
globalize. Yes.
Yeah, but it's all we have to. How you say this in English? We have to grab our nose by our nose by ourselves because we
Yes.
always wanted cheaper products.
Right.
Nobody
So we have
wants
to live
to
with the
buy-
stink.
Exactly. Nobody wants to buy a toaster for $400 because it's only made in USA or Switzerland.
Right.
Everybody wants to go to Target or Walmart and buy a toaster for $9.95.
I have a coffee maker that was nearly $400 and it's handmade in the Netherlands. It's called a Technovorum and it makes better coffee than the $39 coffee maker that I can get at Walmart.
Mhm.
Okay. But I was willing to spend that for the coffee.
Well, that's a
Sure.
good thing. That's a good point you brought up, Bob, because for those of you that are going to continue to buy toy drones, you're throwing your money away. Spend your good money on good technology. Right, Bob?
Exactly. Well,
Okay.
if you buy a toy drone, you will
Yeah.
be so disappointed and you will lose interest in flying a drone right off the bat. If you buy a good drone, you will gain interest in flying drones. And then someday you might want to go back and buy a toy drone and you'll probably be able to fly it because you already have the experience of flying a good drone.
So
But
Yeah, but like-
I was a photographer for a couple of decades already, and I remember walking through the mall, and we have a store here, or used to have a store. They've since gone belly up, called Brookstone. Okay,
Yeah.
and
And-
the minimum wage worker, the kid, would always
Yeah.
be standing at the opening, flying this little helicopter, this little RC
Yes.
helicopter, and I would always think to myself, man, if that only had a camera on it, what I could do with that, right?
Yes.
And of course, I figured, okay, I'll go buy one and play with it at least. And I remember crashing it into the
Yes.
the wall unit, and of
Yes.
course, a couple of the curios got damaged. And you know,
Hold on a second. I got to show you something.
it took me another 12 years, I think, when DJI came out with the original Mavic. Okay, I had already had a Phantom 2 and was playing with that. And then when they came out with the Mavic, and the Mavic actually had a camera. Oh yeah, the opposing propellers, right? Okay. It still did nothing but crash into walls.
It
But-
went right to the ceiling and died. It
yeah,
hasn't flown
yeah.
since, you know.
But see, experience, when you have a good experience like the one that DJI kind of brings to the table, right? How many of us camera flyers were like, hey, I don't want to deal with FPV, you know, because
Yeah.
I didn't get into the game to build, fly, and fix. Build, fly, and fix. I really only got in the game
Well,
to
there are a lot of people
fly,
that do.
to fly and film, fly and film. That was my whole adage. But of course, DJI made it so much simpler. Like out of the box, you were flying the DJI FPV. And then the Avata. Tell me, and so many people were like, oh, well, the motion controller, the biggest mistake they ever made was releasing this new Avata with the motion controller and not the regular controller. None of that was done by mistake, because you just introduced a whole new group into flying, because now they only had this kind of intuitive motion controller in their hand. Okay. Instead of trying to figure out which one of these does
Well,
which,
yeah.
and
Well,
do I pinch them? Do I thumb them? You know, so it was a masterpiece from my point of view. Okay. Because they just now, it's like crack cocaine. It really is. Okay. Because once you put on those goggles, and Bob, I don't know if you can last that long without an Avata. Okay.
we're going to find out, you know.
I know you're pining for one. Okay.
Well, Avata's what's another $700, right?
Yeah.
You
know, the
got
funny thing,
basically-
yeah.
You got everything else to go with it. So yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's really funny? I owned the DJI FPV, and I fly that thing for hours without any issues. Now, since I got that little thing,
You haven't
that
flown the
thing-
FPV.
that thing is so quick with a motion controller. After 20 minutes, I got that motion sickness. I had to stop it. With a DJI FPV, no issues at all. But with that little one, Jesus.
Well,
Makes-
Bob will tell
makes
you.
good videos.
Bob will tell you. I have my chair with my little awning on it.
Yeah.
all set up. Okay. The funniest thing was, you know, I watch new people when they fly with the motion controller and the arm is all over the place.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, all it takes is this. Okay. And once you get that, I just sit there so relaxed. But what's really funny is, and I've told this before, is, you know, sitting on the tailgate of the pickup truck with the wife, and the wife starts giggling and goes, oh, you came pretty close, didn't you? And I go, why? How do you know that? She goes, you lifted up your feet. Okay. So that's how immersive the experience is.
Yeah.
Okay. So it really, and the camera, I mean, the first thing I did with the Avata was I shut off the EIS on it, and I use gyro flow.
Yes,
So
me
when I
too.
bring my images in, oh man, gyro flow is wonderful. What a product
Hey,
you
Bob.
get out of that.
By the way, you are out of focus. You're just
Oh,
all
really?
blurry. Yeah.
Oh, what happened? It's
Well,
a Logitech camera, so you know. Hold
since
on.
your helicopter came in.
Oh, that's what it was. The helicopter. There,
Yeah.
there
we
you go.
go.
That worked?
Okay, you're good.
Yeah,
You're good.
that's how.
It's
this
those
a
Logitechs. It's those
It's a
Logitechs.
Logitech
Yeah,
920.
that's-
You know, which
Yeah.
is normally a pretty
Swiss
decent
crap.
camera.
No, it's those damn Chinese components in it.
Yeah,
right.
that's
what
so
it is.
true. Yeah. No, but what you
Yes.
said, Tom, is
Well-
what I always say is DJI is the Apple on the drones.
Yes.
They came out with
Yeah.
what's really plug and play, out of the box.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, I
charge
agree.
it, you fly it. That what was happened with the Apple products. So
Right.
now
Well, yeah.
today, is there any equivalent to DJI?
Not
No.
yet.
Not yet. For example, if I'm into, let's say, mountain biking and I want a drone that is autonomous and just, follow me, then you go with the Skydio because that's what they made for, but
Yeah.
nothing else.
Right.
The Skydio is not made for making good pictures or movies or what. Well, movies, yeah, but just for the following, tracking. The tracking on Skydio must be awesome.
Yeah.
That's what I've seen in videos and heard. But
Yeah.
like I said,
No.
the Karma was crap from GoPro.
I got to
Mistake,
see the Karma. There was a guy at
It
the
was
South
bad
Florida
Karma.
drone meetup.
Yeah.
Huh?
It
No,
was
he-
bad karma.
He
Yeah.
built 3 Karma drones from about 7 or 8 smashed ones that he got, and he was able to buy them for near nothing. And he has 3 working Karmas, and it's so sizable that when the wind picked up, that was the only drone at the meetup that everybody said we can put that up to take a group picture, but the
Yeah.
wind was blowing at 35 miles an hour at that time.
We're used to
that,
that out here, Bob. Come on, we're used to
that
that.
Karma stood
That's every
still.
day at noon
Yeah.
out here, Bob.
And what's
I know.
that drone that looks like an egg?
Oh, the V. The
You know that
V-copter?
where you pull? No, it really looks like an egg.
Oh,
and
yeah,
got
yeah.
4
That didn't-
propellers.
I don't even know if they broke 1,000 units they sold on that thing.
Huh.
And
that
and
was-
the one
yeah.
that you said, Bob, with a V with only 2 rotors.
Yeah, the V-copter. The V-copter
Yeah,
is another one.
I
I think
had
that
a
goes for about
V-copter in my
$500
hand.
bucks. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
who was it? Johnny Alfonso said
Johnny
they
put
got released. Yeah.
he walked up to me with the controller and said, "You want to fly it?" and handed it to me while it was in the air.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, I did normal moves on it, and it moved exactly like I was moving. So I mean, it was a pretty interesting, flying, with just 2 propellers. It worked really
Gary-
well.
Gary from Brant Aerials brought up a very good point. It probably
What's that?
wasn't the only drone that could fly in those high winds. It was the only drone they were willing to sacrifice in those high winds. Okay. I got to tell you, Mavic 3, just the body weight alone, and now with this Mavic 3 Pro, this thing will be able to handle higher winds. I mean, it's a pretty formidable drone. It's almost up. What is it? 950 some odd grams. So it's a pretty sizable drone at this point.
Yeah. 950. I think I saw a list of the weights there, but all good.
So
So
the
listen,
Avata,
guys, I'm
the
gonna get
Avata,
going. Huh?
by the way, I just want to mention one other thing is you
Sure.
want to talk about how capable a product like the Avata is. The Avata just flew through a disaster situation. And it was used to fly interior of a collapse.
Okay.
So the Avata is a quite capable product
Oh.
in the right hands. And
I
that's
have
what
to tell you,
it's going to be the big problem with some of these laws they're passing is they're prohibiting government entities to use the drones, not just to buy them, but to use them.
right.
So even the individuals that say, firefighter, some of the best tools in fire service resulted from a firefighter bringing in a tool or rebuilding a tool or something like that. This is basically saying even if you own your own Avada or your own, like Roger's going to buy his own M30T, you can't use it when you're on duty.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a problem. And Bob, definitely share that stuff. If you can, put that up in the documents folder up on the Facebook group.
I will. Listen, let's do something. If anybody, the 20 people or whatever that are still watching this, and also the about 150 to 250 is what I usually get people watching the show after the fact. If you're stuck on here this long, let's do something. Find out who your state representatives are. Find out who your state senator is, who your state assembly person is, who your local county commissioner is. Find out who those people are and start making noise. Start writing letters, making phone calls. We as the users, like what Roger was saying in in his country, it's a more simpler process to get an actual vote on an issue than it is here. But we all vote, and we all can communicate to our lawmakers, no matter on what level they are. And believe me, if you tell them that, who I am, how long I've lived here, this is my, my favorite hobby, then you have to.
I got to go to the doctor.
Okay. Then what? Hold on. I'll have to talk to my wife in a minute here. But anyway, please do something. Take
Absolutely.
a bit of action.
Make noise.
Something.
Yes.
May 20th. Bob,
no
May
matter
20th.
What.
Cornerstone Park, May 20th, 10 a.m.
Okay. Is this a new meetup here?
This is a meetup that's happening from the Tech Event Center.
Okay.
They got a permit for Cornerstone Park, picnic area number 2, May 20th, 10 a.m.
Okay. Excellent. Let's do that.
Okay.
Let's put that on the group, Tom. You want to make up a little promo and put it on.
Once I get something from them, I'll definitely share it. And Bob, you're 100% on the mark. We got to make noise, people. Got to make noise.
This is how it gets changed. This is how these things are going to change, is by enough citizens reacting. They'll pay attention. If nobody comments on a bill, then they're being influenced by these high-powered lobbyists, and not by the people that use the drones.
Not by the people that voted them in.
Right. So please, let's help. I know I unfortunately I gotta get busy here, and I appreciate you guys coming on. Roger, thank you again for what you're doing for the group. The group, Roger sees the crapola that we don't give. Before it ever gets, it's at 2 a.m. He's seeing stuff here in the United States that that gets posted, and usually that crap stuff does get posted when we're not aware of it, and a lot of times now recently I'm looking at our logs on Facebook. Roger has stopped stuff before we even know it's there, so I appreciate you doing that, Roger, and that's such a great thing, and we're going to keep it up, folks. We all want to make this Old Farts with Drones group a place you can go without advertising, without politics, without disrespectful crap, and I tell you, I'm so proud. We hit earlier this week, like Sunday, we hit 13,000 members. Yesterday, we hit 13,100 members. I mean, it's you know, I mean, it is like it's almost you know, 50, 60 members a day are joining, and we've got really a place here where we can make a difference. So, old farts, let's get busy. Find out who your politicians are. Start communicating. Thank you. All right, Tom, anything?
No, Bob, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Great topics today. Roger, it was a real pleasure to meet you, sir.
Good.
Same
Thank you
to
again,
Tom.
Roger. Anything you'd like to say?
Yes, there's one thing I really want to say to everybody in the old farts. Please remember, we are old. There's nothing like a stupid question, because when the guy is asking something, he doesn't know it. So please don't harass each other. Stay together, help each other, and we are going to rock that thing. Thanks, you guys.
Thanks, Roger.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Bob. Take care, bro.
Have
Good
a
night.
good one.
Thank you all
Same to
in the
you.
chat for being there. We will talk to you all real soon. Oh, I'm on the show at 5:30 with Bill Thomas, Coast to Coast Drone Therapy, the oldest drone show on YouTube. I'll be there tonight at 5:30 our time. Talk to you all later.
Have a good one.